White oppressive forces have spread lots of disinformation into Black communities. Our people are currently drowning in disinformation that are designed to keep us divided and confused, thus greatly impeding our ability to unify and liberate ourselves. Fortunately, some of us are born with a spiritual gift of insight that allows us to see the true reality that many others are oblivious to. Throughout generations, the ancestors have always provided us with those they've given the spiritual insight to see through the maze of lies and confusion which our enemies have designed for us. Those of us that are blessed with this gift of spiritual insight must teach the truth to our people. Our ancestors demand this of us. Those of us who know must teach. African proverb. Here's the liberating truth. There are 4 ways to effectively brainwash an entire generation of people: by what they're taught, by what they see, by what they hear, and through repetition. Because the white society controls the education we're taught, the media images we see, the societal narratives that we hear, and through repetition, white oppressive forces have manipulated the collective minds of millions of Black people to think in ways that are against our own self-interest and to instead think in ways that serves and protects the interests of the white society. It's truly mental slavery. And those Black people who do not critically think never notices their mental change. Regardless of how intelligent people are, if it's possible to control the input of information and media images that people receives, it's entirely possible to control what they'll believe and how they will think, and even how they'll behave. This is because people's minds and behaviors aligns with the information and media images that they receive and have accepted as being true. Therefore, through their monopoly over the information and media images that are systematically fed into the collective minds of the Black masses, white oppressive forces have manipulated the collective minds of the Black masses to think in ways that serves and protects the system of white supremacy. The history we've been taught has been whitewashed to make Caucasians appear more significant throughout history than they truly in fact were, while making we Africans appear much less significant throughout history than we truly in fact were. They perpetually falsely exalt their racial group while perpetually falsely marginalizes we Africans. They even falsely distort their maps to make Africa appear 13 times smaller than its true relative size, while making all white countries appear significantly larger than their true sizes. The white society sits upon a throne of white exalting and Black marginalizing lies. This constant false exaltation of their groups while perpetually marginalizing we Africans is a psychological warfare system. It's being done to make us, condition us to perceive ourselves through a false inherent inferior identity that aids the white society in maintaining its social capital and social dominance over Black people. Virtually everything they fed into our collective minds serves their system of white supremacy. The religion we've gotten from them is used to control us. The education we're taught by them is used to indoctrinate us. The daily media news reports we consume from them is used to manipulate us daily. And the entertainment that we receive from under their control is used to distract us and to negatively steer our culture. If you don't believe that white oppressive forces secretly exploits their monopoly over the input of what's being fed into our collective minds to manipulate us to think and behave in ways that serves the system of white supremacy, if you doubt this, you are extremely naive. Moreover, you're not critically thinking, nor are you seeing our true reality. Therefore, allow me to help you to do so. Virtually everything that we currently believe came exclusively from white sources. This is a fact. Now let's look at historical facts of who these people actually are. Throughout history, the oppressors have demonstrated an entrenched predisposition for brutal racism that is matched only by their proclivity for deceit, greed, and hunger for power. They alone are the most narcissistic and the group most predisposed to racism. All other races have been their enemies or their victims. Moreover, throughout history, the oppressors have demonstrated an almost total disregard for the human lives of non-whites. Their subjugation, murder, and exploitation of all other races are unparalleled. While labeling all other races as being savages, the oppressors have in fact been the most savage group throughout history. These are the people who control the information that we receive and we blindly believe. Whenever such a described group of people are the ones controlling all information that we receive, they'll always feed us lies that serve their many unethical agendas against us. They do so because it's the people they inherently are. It's the way they've always been. And it's the only way they know how to be. I've just described the real Matrix. The real Matrix is not a computer simulation. It's not a movie, nor does it have anything to do with a red pill. The real Matrix is a false worldview that has been indoctrinated into our collective minds since birth through the white society's monopoly over information. Through their monopoly over information that we receive, white oppressive forces have created an elaborate prison for our minds. It's the real Matrix. In the Matrix film, Neo awakens to discover that the true humans were being mentally enslaved by soulless beings. Moreover, that these soulless beings kept the true humans within a large part being fed a false version of reality. These soulless beings are the programmers of everything that the true humans believed. They perpetually kept the humans trapped within a false version of reality that allowed them to exploit them without any resistance. The white oppressors often reveals through movies what they've done to black people. Some describe this practice as being a form of ritual marking of the victim, but it's actually a practice that allows the oppressors to avoid the law of karma, K-A-R-M-A, karma, called revelation of the method. There are hidden rules and principles within this warfare of domination that must be adhered to. The oppressors must make their oppressive tactics available to the oppressed. They therefore often embed them within movies, TV shows, and books. They don't make the revelation easy to recognize. They do so only enough to meet the threshold necessary to avoid the law of karma. They masquerade it as to appear as being merely entertainment. However, because the oppressive tactics have been made available, when the oppressed do not act upon the knowledge, by default, they've given the oppressors permission to oppress and rule over them. It's a social contract that allows the oppressors to avoid the law of karma. The first Matrix film is clearly a revelation of the method that allows the white oppressors to avoid the law of karma in regards to what they've done to black people. Firstly, we Africans are the only true Homo sapiens. It's untrue that we are all African Homo sapiens. It has been scientifically proven that we Africans are the only true homogeneous species. Africans are the only true Homo sapiens. The scientific classification for all other racial groups is actually Homo sapiens sapiens. The additional sapiens means modern humans that evolved from lower primate subspecies. Unlike all other racial groups that evolved from lower primate species, we Africans have instead always been Homo sapiens. We Africans are not included on the Darwin evolutionary chart. Africans have always been Homo sapiens. Everyone falsely attached themselves onto we Africans to give themselves a Homo sapien identity. It's the true reason why, in spite of despising us and constantly falsely putting us down, all other groups nonetheless claim that they came from us. I just demonstrated that we Africans are the true imprisoned humans depicted within the Matrix film. Now I will demonstrate who are the true soulless beings. To learn who the soulless beings are, you have to first learn about the pineal gland. The pineal gland. The pineal gland is a tiny organ in the center of the brain, which is regarded as the principal seat of the soul and the place in which all of our thoughts are formed. According to many scientists, the pineal gland, located in the center of the brain, is important not only because it produces melanin, but also because melanin controls our mental process. The pineal gland is where all of our thoughts and decisions are formed. It produces the human traits and characteristics and behaviors associated with possessing a soul. This includes sympathy, compassion, empathy, and remorse. The pineal gland is therefore regarded as the principal seat of the soul. Scientists have found that the pineal gland within Caucasians are over 80% calcified and therefore non-functioning. Therefore, 80% of what controls Caucasian thoughts, decisions, and behaviors regarding sympathy, compassion, empathy, and remorse does not work. This literally means that the pineal gland that produces the human traits, characteristics, and behaviors associated with possessing a soul only functions at a 20% capacity level within Caucasian, thus revealing to us who are the soulless being depicted within the first Matrix film. This scientific finding correlates with the collective behaviors demonstrated by our oppressors throughout history. For there has never been a time in human history where which the oppressors have not either exploited millions of people and have contributed either directly or indirectly to the misery, suffering, and deaths of millions throughout history. Their subjugation, murder, and exploitation of all other races are unparalleled. They've killed, pillaged, raped more people throughout history than all other groups have done so combined. They created genocide and racism. Now, when observing these scientific findings that 80% of where the soul lies within the oppressors is calcified, and then comparing their history, their horrific immoral history, it forces many to legitimately ask the question, does the oppressors actually have a soul? Or do they merely impersonate the behaviors of empathy and sympathy? This is not hate speech. These are facts that were forbidden through censorship and sanctions from openly speaking of. The first Matrix film is clearly a revelation of the methods that allows the white oppressors to avoid the law of karma and the oppression of black people. I never said that what I teach would be easy for everyone to comprehend. I only said that it would be the true knowledge that emancipates your minds from white mental slavery. The truth that sets you free requires that you elevate your thinking above a biblical fairy tale and a silly slave syndrome myth and learn the true reality. One love and peace.